Hi, welcome to The Well. My name is Matt, I'm the worship pastor here, and as you can tell, it is No Service Sunday. We love to do this service once a year as a way to thank our dream teamers, those people who volunteer their time and their effort week in and week out to make these services happen. So we have a great service for you this morning with worship led by Holly and Walter Hollowell and a phenomenal message from our pastor, Jerry Schaefer. So whether you're joining us for the first time or have been a part of The Well for years, thank you so much for spending part of your week with us. Please enjoy No Service Sunday.
all to you. Oh, I surrender all. Lord, take control. I trust you.
Hey Wellers, happy No Service Sunday. We hope you had a very Merry Christmas and are excited to ring in the new year. I just want to let you know about a few things coming up that we're really excited for here at The Well. In the new year, we start our 21 days of prayer and fasting. Every morning from January 6th through the 21st, we'll meet here at the campus to pray for our church, for our city, and for our nation. So make sure to join us Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. or Saturday at 9 a.m. for 21 days of prayer and fasting. Then on January 13th, we start our Explore God series. The Well is partnering with 800 churches in the Chicagoland area to answer some of our biggest questions about faith, God, and the church. So make sure to join us for the Explore God series and to invite all of your friends. Now here's a message from our pastor, Jerry Schaefer.
Hey everyone, welcome to No Service Sunday at The Well. We want to say a huge thank you to all of our dream teams who serve so faithfully all year long, and we're so privileged and honored to be able to take the Sunday every year after Christmas off, give everyone a break, give you guys a chance to spend a little bit of extra time with family, with friends, with coworkers. So wherever you are today, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to be able to still come together in this format with you one last time in 2018. And I hope that 2018 was an amazing year for you. I pray that you've had just a wonderful holiday season. We've spent this holiday season reflecting on the idea of a fresh look, Christmas like you've never seen it before. So we looked at a legacy like you've never seen it before. We looked at Christ like you've never seen him before in anticipation. And we've looked at our lives like we've never seen it before in relationship to Christmas. And now we want to talk about New Year's like you've never seen it before, and try to allow who Jesus is and what Jesus has done to give us a fresh look and a fresh anticipation, excitement, both about what God has done in our lives and through our lives in 2018, but also what he's going to do in 2019. C.S. Lewis said this. He said, "I believe in Christ in the same way that I believe that the sun is risen, not only because I can see it, but because by it I see everything else." It's the light of the sun that enables us to see everything else in our world for what it is and not stumble and grope in darkness. And in the same way, Christ, when he comes into our life, gives us a clear perspective of our life, of our relationships, of our world, so that we don't find ourselves groping through those things frustrated. And he gives clear, defined edges and purpose to what we're seeing. Paul said it like this when he was writing to the church in Corinth in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. He said, "Now I see things imperfectly, like a puzzling reflection in a mirror. But then we'll see everything with perfect clarity. All I know now is partial and it's incomplete, but then I'll know everything completely, just as God knows me completely." What a beautiful picture that in the same way that God knows us fully for who we are, with no facade, laid bare, and he still loves us, that he gives us insights to see ourselves, to see our lives and our relationships with that same kind of clarity, in a way that we don't have to feel shame or guilt, but in a way that helps us move into a deeper relationship with him and allow his kingdom and his image to be formed more perfectly in our lives. And that's our hope, that we would move into 2019 with a sense that God has been doing a work in our life, and that God is going to do an even greater work in our lives in 2019 because of what he's already done in our lives. In Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 and 25, Jesus says this. He said, "Anyone who listens to my teachings and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on a solid rock, on a solid foundation. And though the rains come in torrents and the floodwaters rise, the winds beat and batter against the house, it won't collapse, it won't fail, it won't give in, because it's built on bedrock." In the same way, it doesn't matter what might come at us in 2019, just like it didn't matter what came at us in 2018. If we've laid a good foundation, we can trust and build on it and continue to build higher and bigger things in our lives and in God's kingdom for his name, for his glory, for his honor, because of what we've experienced over this past year. And that's what I want you to think about. Oftentimes in the new year, we think about this idea of a reset. And resets are good. Resets are really, really healthy. We all need cycles and seasons in our life of new beginning. It's why we have Sabbath. It's why we have Advent. It's why we have all of these different things. These comings, these rests give us opportunity to sort of refuel and refocus into that next time. But what we don't want to think about is that each year we're laying a whole new foundation, that we're sort of starting from scratch in our relationships, in our career, in our education, or in our faith. Even if 2018 was rough or whether it was amazing, we can build on it in this coming year. Now, 2018 for the Well was phenomenal. We hit some milestones that I wouldn't have thought that we would have hit for years. We were able to buy our campus in 2018. We were able to raise, through the Built to Last campaign, over $300,000. In 2018, we were able to give away over $100,000. We helped plant 2 different churches in 2018, one of them in West Palm, New Sound Church with Pastor Josh Monty, and Rise Frisco with Pastor Grant Diamond, which is a northeast suburb of Dallas. Both churches are doing phenomenal. They're growing like crazy, and God is doing some just tremendous work in those cities because of your generosity, because of your prayers, because of your faithfulness, and because of the work of their teams. We added another full-time staff member at the Well. Huge shout out to Matt and Brenna Camera. We're so thankful to have them on our team. What a blessing. And we saw nearly 100 people make decisions for Christ this year. So it was just a phenomenal year. And we want to take time at the end of the year to sort of think about all the different ways that God has blessed us, all the different things that God has done, how that has created lift and wind and momentum. And we want to ride that momentum as we move into 2019 and continue to add, continue to grow, continue to build on the successes that we've already seen. So here's what I want you to do. In just a moment, I'm going to ask you just to push pause on the video. And I want you to take a moment, grab a sheet of paper or an index card, or grab your phone and open up your notes app and just write successes in 2018 or blessings in 2018 or victories in 2018, something that'll help you really stand out, because I want you to hold on to this in this coming year. And then I would just want you to list out some of the amazing things. Maybe you graduated high school this year. Maybe you graduated college. Maybe you got a new job or your first job. Maybe you got a new house or your first house. Maybe you had a new baby or your first baby. Whatever it is, job promotion, new opportunity, new relationship, whatever it is, write down those successes that you see in 2018. And then I want you to take a moment to just go around the room today and let each person share one or two of their successes and just take some time to celebrate. Celebrate God's faithfulness in this last year and the hope, the anticipation, the excitement that sort of creates for what God is going to do in 2019. All right? So take a moment, hit pause, and let's celebrate. All right. God is awesome. Everyone take a moment, give someone else in the room a high five, say, God is awesome. 2018 was awesome. But maybe for some of you, it wasn't that awesome. Or maybe it was incredibly awesome, but the truth was every bit of it maybe wasn't necessarily awesome. Chances are, if you're like me, in 2018 you experienced some real highs, but you also experienced some real lows. And so we have to think through, what do we do with our failures? Now, the tendency is always to just want to jettison our failures, just sort of get out of the year and cut those things loose and ignore them and forget them and move on. But this is one of those places where I really want to challenge maybe our perspective, maybe take a fresh look on our failures in 2018 and figure out how we can incorporate them into the foundation of what God is wanting to do in 2019 in our lives. Back when the Well first moved into our campus years ago, we were growing just unbelievably. And we went from one service to two services, and it looked like we were going to rapidly outstrip our capacity even to do two services. And so to sort of help foster new growth and move into some new target market areas, we decided to launch a third service on a Saturday night, a time when people, otherwise, people who weren't able to come on Sundays would be able to come. And so we launched it, and it didn't take long before the service shot up to 100 people. We were so excited. It was so clear that God was moving in what was happening in our community. And then after a few months, it was still at 100. Then after 6 months, it was still at 100. And then after 9 months, it was still at 100. After a year, it was still at 100, year and a half, year and 9 months. And it quickly was obvious that what we had done was we had taken all of our margin, all of our excess that God was sort of creating for us, all of our seed, and we had put it in this one thing. And instead of it actually fueling our momentum, it had actually killed it. Eventually, we realized we just couldn't sustain that process, and we had to let the Saturday night service go. But it didn't give us back that extra or that momentum. People had been worn out and burned out. We had done something prematurely, and it had affected us in a very adverse way. And it would be easy for us to just say, hey, man, that's just something we want to forget. That's something we want to let go. But what we learned is that when we could sort of look at it and be honest about what it was, then it actually could help us grow and become part of the foundation for whatever it was that we needed to do next. Because of that, it was a big part of us making the decision actually to purchase the building. In Isaiah chapter 58, there's actually a promise that the prophet gives. He's talking to a people who are living in a fairly good time, and he's saying to them, listen, there's something bad that's going to happen, and you guys are going to be exiled, your cities are going to be destroyed, the kingdom is going to fall. But at some point in the future, that failure isn't going to be final. It isn't going to be fatal in your life. You're going to get to come back. There's an old leadership axiom that I heard a long time ago that I've applied to my life. I've shared it with my leaders. I share it with my kids. And that is that no success is ever final and no failure is ever fatal. That means if you're riding a wave of momentum going into 2019, at some point that wave is going to drop out. It just does. And at some point, whatever success you're experiencing right now, it's going to run out of energy. It's going to run out of mass. It's going to run out of whatever it is that it's running on. But the same thing is true for any struggle that we might have had, any setback that we might have had. Failure is never fatal. Whatever you're going through, it's going to end too. And the real question is, what are you going to do with that raw material, with that experience, with that history, with that past? Isaiah says this in Isaiah 58, verse 12. He said, some of you are going to learn to come back and rebuild those deserted, those ruined, those broken places, those cities in your life. And then once you do that, you're going to be known as a rebuilder of walls and a restorer of homes, a restorer of lives. Eugene Peterson, in his The Message version of the Bible, he actually says it like this, and I like it. He said, you'll use the old rubble of the past to build anew. In other words, our past, our failure, our brokenness becomes literally the substance of the foundation for rebuilding. That next layer of building material actually comes from the broken failures that we have experienced. And we rebuild the foundations from our past. And when we do, we'll be known as the people who can fix anything. We'll be known as the people who can live through anything. People will see God in us and be like, wow, 2018 was rough for you, and yet you still have this anticipation, this excitement about 2019. I just think whatever it is, whatever's fueling your life allows you to be able to do anything. You'll be able to fix anything. You restore old ruins, you rebuild, and you renovate. And you make community, you make life livable again. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to not just think about the successes from 2018 in terms of the things that are catapulting you into 2019, but even the failures. That God can take the successes and the failures and He can use them together to propel us to a new height in 2019. God promises that when we bring everything to Him, whatever it is, good or bad, He can use all things together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purposes. That He is more than able to keep, to maintain, to hold, to make useful the things that we commit to Him, and He does abundantly above what we would even dare to ask. The writer of Hebrews pushes in on this idea when he says this. He said, let's stop going over and over and over the basic teachings about Christ again and again. Instead, let us move on and become mature, fuller, richer, deeper in our understanding. Surely we don't need to start all over with the fundamentals, with the foundation, the importance of repenting from evil or placing our faith in God. We need to go further in our instructions about baptism, our instructions about joining into the community of faith and the laying on of hands, moving out into faith and mystery, the resurrection of the dead, and even eternal judgment. In other words, listen, there's so much richness, depth that's out there. We want to move past the lessons we learned in 18, whether they were good or bad, to lay hold of new things. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is take the substance of our success and our failures and use them as the building material for what God wants to do in 2019. So this is what I want you to do now. I want you to pause the video again. And this time, I want you to flip the card over or fold the sheet of paper in half or go down and create a new heading in your notes thing that says failures, struggles, brokenness in 2018. And I want you to write down some of those painful things. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to begin to share those with one another as well. And I want you to be authentic and real. Now, some of them may be a little too fresh or a little too painful to share, and I get that. But pick one or two that you can. And when you do, give each other permission to begin to push into that. Let's live in this space for just a moment as we close out this month. Ask each other questions. How did that make you feel? What did that make you think? But most importantly, how could we use that as a stepping stone, as a launching off place for whatever God wants to do in our lives in 2019? And I want you to write those ideas down as well. So go ahead and pause the video and take a moment and let's just be real and honest and transparent as we prepare for whatever God has for us in 2019, and then come back and hit play again. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your bravery. Thanks so much for your courage and your authenticity. What a powerful reminder that God is faithful, not only when we are succeeding, but even when we are struggling. And God will bring all of those things together for His glory, for His honor, when we will turn those things over to Him. And I want us to move into 2019 with a fresh perspective on everything that God has done in the past and know with absolute certainty that He is using all of that as the substance of what He is going to do in our life in 2019. 2019 is going to be a powerful year. Here at The Well, we're going to spend the entire year preparing for launching our second location at The Well. We're going to take all the things we've learned, the things we've learned that went great from our victories, and even the things that we learned from our failures. And we're going to use them to allow God to form in us what He wants to do next. And I know God has a next step for you in 2019. Hey, just a quick reminder, next Sunday, January 6th, kicks off our 21 days of prayer and fasting. So that means every weekday, Monday through Friday, we have prayer live at the campus from 6 until 7. We'll get you out right at 7 o'clock so you can get to work. And then on Saturdays, we have live prayer from 9 until 10. I promise you, if you'll take those first 3 weeks, the first 3 full weeks in January, the 6th through the 26th, and really spend them in prayer, your days are going to go better. You're going to really set the tempo for your year. 2019 is going to be amazing. So we invite you to come out as often as you possibly can, participate. We're inviting you not only to pray, but also to fast. Take some days, maybe in a row or one day every week, and just decide to set aside food or fast in some other different way where we can really get ourselves focused. And on the 13th, that very next Sunday, we launch Exploring God with over 800 other churches in the Chicagoland area. And we're just trusting that God is there's just going to be an outpouring of His Spirit, of His love and His light, and that we're going to see people giving their hearts to Christ and entering into His kingdom all across Chicagoland. That it's just going to be a phenomenal start, a launch into 2019. And 2019 is going to be the best year in our lives, collectively together ever. So thanks so much for taking a couple minutes to be with us today. We trust you're going to have an awesome weekend today, finishing it out, and an awesome week. And we will see you next Sunday live back at The Well. God bless.